And these like left-wing shows play that reaction I had to you mentioning how she might run for governor of California. And I had a very real, yes, knee-jerk reaction to it. I started screaming, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. Because she's a bad candidate.
She's awful.
She sounds like she's drunk.
In this video, Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks reports on what Kamala Harris has been up to lately. Anna Kasparian plays some clips of Kamala Harris and says that she sounds drunk. With that, let's watch Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur literally LOL at Kamala Harris and what a terrible candidate she was.
What happened? Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
I'm just gonna go to you because, no, I'm gonna say it. You were a crappy candidate. And you were part of a group of people who provided cover for a man who was falling apart mentally speaking, but decided to run anyway. Decided to stay in the race for a month after that disastrous debate against Donald Trump. And then when Biden, the most unpopular sitting president, called you up before the debate and told you, remember, kiddo, no daylight between us, do not differentiate yourself from me, you listened. So to sit there or stand there and give a speech about, oh, I told you so, I told you so. These are the worst people, man. They really are, okay? No, we all knew what Donald Trump was. We all knew. And for all the Democratic ass kissers out there who provided cover for the bad behavior of that administration, they directed their ire toward people like us who kept warning the Democrats, you're gonna lose to Trump, you're gonna lose to Trump, you're pushing unpopular policies, you're gaslighting Americans on the issue of immigration. If you do that, that creates an opening for someone like Donald Trump to come in and do what he's doing in regard to mass deportations, do what he's doing in regard to literally deporting people before they even have a single day in front of a judge to adjudicate whether or not they're undocumented, to adjudicate whether or not they're actually gang members.
Yeah.
So for all, by the way, all the left-wing media folks who directed their ire toward me, and they're like, oh, you see that? Anna's getting what she wants. No, I'm not getting what I wanted. I wanted Democrats to stop gaslighting American citizens and acknowledge what was going on in the country and provide their solutions for it.
Too much to ask for.
Too much to ask for. Anna's the problem. Oh, big, strong, big, bad Anna. With all of her power, she's the one who swung the election, right? I can't stand these people. They're the worst. They're the worst.
Okay.
Seems like Anna's catching on to something that all of us have known for a long time. These people are the worst. You know, say what you will about Donald Trump. He's very transparent about what he was going to do when he gets into office. And that's what the American people voted for. The Democrats might have had a chance because there's such a big part of the country that just hates Donald Trump. But their candidate was so bad that even with a built-in 40% of the population that hates Donald Trump, or 30, whatever it is, they still couldn't win. And they lost in every demographic, I believe. And a news story that I can't believe is happening right now is this. They were covering for Joe Biden. I guess it's a news story because all these losers that enabled him and enabled that behavior are being rewarded now by writing books and profiting off of something that they did. But do you remember the first election, the 2020 election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Donald Trump's nickname for Joe Biden was Sleepy Joe. Back then, we knew he was old and kind of out of it. Now, I do think he deteriorated during the presidency, but he was never fit to serve as president. All the drastic measures you see Donald Trump making now, a lot of them can be attributed to how poorly the country was run for the last 4 years. But I understand Anna's frustration. I don't agree with her on 99.9% of things, but when she says these people are the worst, this is what all of us as conservatives know. If you don't fall in line with the Democrat Party, you know, they, of course, railed against Trump during the election, but they criticize the Democrats too, and their fans and other media sources, especially progressive, you know, the Emma Vigelands and the Francesca Fiorentinis of the world acted like TYT were a bunch of a-holes for just telling the truth about what a loser Kamala Harris was and how mentally impaired Joe Biden was. So I'm not a fan of the Young Turks at all, but in this progressive battle, I side with them because at least once in a while they tell the truth, where the rest of those channels are just obsessed with their ideology and literally parrot the mainstream narrative. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Let alone me. I'm going to start with a small thing and then get bigger. So first, I also can't stand her dramatic pauses that never lead to anything. Like, you're supposed to do the pause if you're really gonna deliver a point. Like,
I can't stand them.
Every politician is taught this. She's so bad at it. They're always anticlimactic. Okay, that's minor. Now you get to the laugh, right? So guys, if anyone can say "told you so," I would argue that it's us. And I would say even more specifically me, okay? So why? And then let's talk about the difference in the "told you so's." Number one, a year and a half ago, we started a campaign, now even longer, I think, to get Biden out of the race. Why? Because we weirdly hate Biden? No, I mean, I'm not a fan of Biden's, but the reason to get him out of the race that early was because he was gonna lose to Trump. And what I kept saying on the show, and we did a petition and Young Turks viewers signed it, they should get all the credit. They were prescient enough all the way back then to say, guys, we're not gonna beat Donald Trump with a guy who can't talk. We at the Young Turks, our viewers have eyes and ears. And we can see that he's super old, can't finish his sentences, mumbles, repeats. He's a disaster. And his popularity is in the 30s. And for an incumbent in the 40s, you always lose. In the 30s, it's almost impossible to win. So these are just facts. He'd lost Latinos, he'd lost young people. It was nearly impossible to win. So we were the ones who cared the most about Democrats winning and Trump losing. So we're like, can you please try to win? And be like, how dare you? Winning is not important, even though we're saying democracy's on the line and the other side is Nazis. Winning is not nearly as important as protecting Democratic leadership. So if Joe Biden, the incompetent man with obvious dementia, if the Mad King says he's staying in the race and we're gonna lose, we all have to bow to the Mad King. You, Young Turks hosts and audience, and all of you, you guys defying the Mad King is a much bigger crime than Joe Biden's giant ego saying, I don't care if I have dementia, I want it to be me and only me. And I don't care if I lose to Trump, as long as it's me, that egomaniac fool and all of his advisors put us on the ship.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Headed straight toward an iceberg. And we kept screaming, it's an iceberg straight ahead. And they would yell at us, oh, look at these guys warning about an iceberg. It's your fault, you created the iceberg. No, we didn't, you incompetent fools. Then what did we say? Once Biden finally dropped out and we were 100% right, we said, do an open convention, please do an open convention. Obama and Pelosi didn't endorse Kamala Harris. They didn't endorse because they know she's a disaster. Biden did endorse because he knows she's a disaster and he wanted her to lose so he could say his version of, I told you so, my career is so much more important. As we told you all these I told you so's, do you see me laughing? No, you know why? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who was right in terms of the consequences and the damage. It matters for the next election. Do not ever listen to these liars. Look at how cavalier she is. That laugh is unbearable. I mean, uproarious laughter.
Shank's kind of annoying in general, but he does make a great point. I always try to pick up on people's mannerisms and stuff. And I've always said that Kamala Harris's laugh is, in my humble opinion, is clearly a personal reaction or tick that she busts out when she just doesn't know what to say about something, which happens a lot. But he is so right about that dramatic pause. She will pause and you're like, okay, where's the punchline or where's the motivating one-liner? And it just trails off or goes into a different subject. It's like the cadence of her speech doesn't match what she's saying. But yeah, the Democrat Party and its leadership, if you can even call it that, I don't even know who's leading the Democrat Party right now. But I mean, it is so clear that the entire party is comprised of sheep because they would defend Biden till the end of time as he was slowly dying in front of us in the Oval Office and suggest that it was outrageous that he was mentally compromised. But then the second he stepped aside, the support for Kamala Harris was amazing. And it's such a grassroots campaign of joy. All of that was bullshit. I think it was Democrat leadership that put Hillary Clinton in the race. I think it was Democrat leadership that put Joe Biden in the race. I think it was Democrat leadership that put Kamala Harris in the race. The Democrat Party is so undemocratic. It's unbelievable. But I guess the Republicans should hope that the leadership stays the same, because they cannot pick a presidential candidate to save their lives. I think I've said it before, but I think Kamala Harris is the worst presidential candidate in the history of presidential politics in the United States. What do you guys think? Anyway, let's wrap up video. The
whole country's in a disaster now. But my career was slightly better off now because I seem like I was more right than Trump. That's not funny, man. It's not funny. So real people are hurt, and it's so obvious that all the elites in the Democratic Party couldn't care less. The only thing they're obsessed with, just like Trump, is their own ego, their own careers, and their own benefit.
Bingo.
And they disgust me.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't be laughing. You lost to that guy.
So that,
what are you laughing about? I mean, it's just, by the way, my other very favorite thing that's happening right now. People are like, oh, Kamala Harris, she might run again. She might run in the next presidential election. And these like left-wing shows play that reaction I had to you mentioning how she might run for governor of California. And I had a very real, yes, knee-jerk reaction to it. I started screaming, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. Because she's a bad candidate.
She's awful.
She sounds like she's drunk.
There goes Cenk. Just like Trump, they're in it for themselves. Trump's not in it for himself and his ego. That narrative never made sense to me. But now, in my opinion, it's objectively not true. If it's all about your ego and you want to be loved, which Trump does want to be loved, but if that was his main motivator, why would he put these tariffs on other countries that he knows will divide the country on who thinks it's good and who thinks it's bad, and it'll be very controversial? If it was just about his ego, he could just spend 4 years doing a goodwill tour and shake hands and smile and say what he thought the most people wanted to hear. And he could guarantee leaving office with at least more of the country looking at his presidency as a success than they do right now. But he's taking risks. This is something that no one, Republican or Democrat, ever wants to do, because they're scared if it goes poorly, if the risk doesn't pay off, they won't get reelected, and that's their life. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about what the Young Turks had to say about Kamala Harris? And how about this, as a conservative, would you be happy to see her run again because you believe she'd be easy to beat? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.